Today's Cowboys Report is sponsored by True Classic. I am rocking one of their polos. I love their jeans, by the way, as the weather finally gets a little bit cooler. Get 25% off your order when you use promo code ChatSports at trueclassic.com/chatsports. We begin today's news with the Aaron Rodgers injury. A, the biggest NFL story. B, the Cowboys play the Jets in NFL Week 2. And 3, as we'll get into more in depth, plenty of rumors out there. Every fan base trying to trade their backup quarterback to the Jets and get something solid back in return. Rodgers' season and maybe even his career is over after a torn Achilles. He's nearly 40. It's going to be very tough for him to recover from that one. His season is over. The Jets are in trouble at quarterback, which we will go more in depth on our preview. I made the comment on our live show yesterday that we didn't get it for the preview on Mondays. Didn't do it this week because, knock on wood, didn't want injury to happen. Then it did. So this game, Cowboys versus Jets in Week 2, changes significantly. We will be previewing that on Wednesday now. So do not miss out. We'll be live for the game, of course, as well. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Now, Cowboys' early odds are now 8-point favorites in this game against the Jets because it seems very likely they will start Zach Wilson. You could trade a quarterback to the Jets, by the way, and they wouldn't play probably in Week 1. Learning a playbook in what would amount to 5 days is impossible, basically, to be effective from that perspective. So it's going to be Zach Wilson as quarterback 1. Tim Boyle is the other Jets option on the roster. I fully expect they will sign or trade for somebody in the coming days since Aaron Rodgers will go to IR. But Zach Wilson's not very good. We've seen that multiple times here of Wilson not being a very good quarterback. So would you trade a quarterback to the Jets knowing they wouldn't play in Week 1? They had the playbook, sure, I suppose, but that's not, I don't think, as big of a deal as teams or some might tend to make out there. If you can get something back nicely, trade Cooper Rush or Trey Lance to the Jets. It is today's pinned comment. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Y for yes, N for no. Let's look then at more in depth of the options here for the Cowboys. To be clear, you're obviously not trading Dak Prescott, duh. Would you trade away a Cooper Rush? Would you trade away Trey Lance and get, in theory, something more than what you would normally get for either of those two guys? Do you feel confident in the other one being the backup for this Dallas Cowboys football team? Dak's not going anywhere. Could Rush get you something? Could Trey Lance get you something back? It's a possibility, but as we will get into more in depth here, I would not presume to say that it is a likely outcome that the Cowboys get anything back of note for Cooper Rush or they get anything back of note for Trey Lance relative to what they gave up. I'll break down the pros and cons of all the potential deals and whatnot there, but I do think early tease, not giving it all away, don't get your hopes up for a trade. And I'm not even sure it would be the Jets saying no. The Cowboys might not have that much interest from that perspective. Now, today's show is made possible by True Classic. I am rocking one of their polos because I like to wear polos, but I have always been a simple t-shirt guy. Like, when I'm away from work, I don't want to have a bunch of stuff on it. And I want them to be comfortable. And True Classic steps up in that area. I know you've heard me talk about them before, but they are so good. You haven't lived until you've worn one of their perfect fitting tees. They're ultra soft, cut to highlight your arms and chest while hiding your gut because I am not in shape. Ask my pulled hamstring. They've also got some awesome shorts, and as the weather gets a little bit cooler, the jeans are fantastic as well. Classic look, tapered with just the right bit of stretch in the right place right there. Nice range of colors for any mood or occasion. If you are ready to make the easiest summer and fall upgrade, then shop right now over at trueclassic.com/chatsports. When you use promo code chatsports, you will get 25% off your order. The link will be in both the comment section and the description of today's show. So check out True Classic tees today. You will not regret your purchase. I bought some of the shorts and polos for my dad and my father-in-law way back when on Father's Day. they loved him. TrueClassic.com/chatsports, promo code chatsports gets you 25% off. All right, let's break down Cooper Rush. Does it make sense to trade him to the Jets? Now, the Cowboys like what Rush brings to the quarterback room. He's a smart football player. He offers some value as the backup of helping game plan, as most backup quarterbacks tend to offer. But, and they've always done enough to win some football games for you, he is a limited quarterback. Your ceiling, the ability of what you are able to do with Cooper Rush is limited. I think the Jets have a fantastic roster. Frankly, it's probably just as good, if not better, than the Cowboys roster overall. Probably minus the offensive line. Not quite as good defensively, but that defense is great. You saw it on Monday Night Football, right? But because of the fact that Rush is a limited quarterback, and I think the Jets' ceiling with Rush is probably one and done, maybe you win one playoff game, he doesn't have much trade value. And I think we saw that in free agency. Rush was a free agent. 31 NFL teams could have had interest in him. Nobody really did. The Raiders had some interest. The Bengals had some interest. He ends up signing back with the Cowboys on a very cheap contract. That said everything I needed to know about what the NFL viewpoint of Cooper Rush is. They just think he's an average backup. So I don't think the Jets would have that much interest in Cooper Rush. He's a more stabilizing presence than Zach Wilson, but Jets let Mike White leave, and Mike White got about the same deal that Rush did. I think a little bit more technically. I don't think the Jets would have much interest there. Best case, maybe a late day 3 pick. Trey Lance is slightly more intriguing. The upside is still there. But I do think it would be a bad thing for Lance's development, and thus the Jets, if he was on a third team in like a month. That is so much information you're trying to process as a player of, I'm learning this terminology, this playbook, and now it's this one. Massive change there. Not a great outcome there. And I think that the wild card upside quarterback is kind of filled with Zach Wilson, who's probably been better than what we've seen from Trey Lance in the NFL. Lance is intriguing as your developmental quarterback. It's why the Cowboys gave up that 4th-round pick. It's why they showed interest in giving up, what would be a pick on the 120s and the rights to draft Spencer Rattler? I don't know, some 4th-round quarterback and gamble on Trey Lance instead. Now, there were teams interested. The Lions were allegedly involved. The Ravens were involved. The Bills were involved. So Lance probably does have some value, or at least not some. He does have value. But it's probably not going to be more than what you gave up unless the Jets just spam the panic button and freak out and make some wild-ass move, which I don't think they're going to do at this stage. Some more thoughts on this and injury news coming up, but what is the % chance you think that the Dallas Cowboys trade either of their backup QBs? Go vote for me in the comments section right now. % chance the Cowboys trade a backup QB. Maybe 5%. Still seems a little bit high. I get that's what a lot of people are talking about today, plus Josh Allen being terrible in week 1. I don't think it fits either side enough. I don't think the Jets, they get either a average backup that doesn't raise their ceiling or another wild card QB. They already have one of those in Zach Wilson. The Jets don't get an upgrade enough. They don't upgrade what they need to upgrade, knowing there are not very many viable options out there. The Cowboys hurt their depth. If, knock on wood, Dak Prescott gets hurt, hurts their future. And don't forget this part too. The Cowboys and Jets have not always been on the best working relationship. Accurate or not, the Jets kind of blamed the Cowboys for the whole Jamal Adams thing. Because remember, when the Jamal Adams want to trade stuff first leaked out, it leaked out of Dallas. Leaked out from the Cowboys side. I think they were trying to bully the Jets into a trade or something along those lines. So that's a big reason what I think those two sides have had issues there. Joe Douglas didn't like the Cowboys for a while. I think they're on better terms now, but that is worth mentioning. So provided we keep them realistic, have some fun in the comments section. Put your Cowboys and Jets trade ideas in the comments section. Go do it right now. Injury news and notes. Tyler Smith, of course, did not play in week 1. Jerry Jones is saying, at least publicly, that he thinks all 3 injured players, including Julius, we'll get to in a second, should be closer to playing in week 2, that they think he's right. He thinks they're right on the precipice. Smith did not play in week 1. Maybe he plays in week 2. They'll be cautious with the hamstring. Chuma Edoga did fine in week 2. It's also Quinn Williams. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. Is he limited? Does he practice Thursday? We'll know more in the coming days. Jourdan Lewis, I think, could play, but the Cowboys still having a ramp-up approach. He was a healthy scratch in week 1, maybe plays in week 2. At this point, I would say he's probably back by week 3 at the latest. Donovan Wilson also missed practice last week, I should say. He's recovering from his calf injury. Been a longer developmental process or recovery process for Wilson than I'd hoped. Let's see how he fares. Again, at practice this week, we'll know more Wednesday for you guys. Also of note, Jason Peters is visiting the Seahawks today. Those of you who wanted Peters, who are going to see our free agents video later today, we'll see if and when he ends up signing. Peters is visiting the Seahawks, could end up signing to their practice squad. We'll see what happens there. He's part of our free agent targets video that will come out later today, which we'll edit the video if we need to if he signs. But hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV.